Hey friends, how are you today on this beautiful sunny day? My name is Nancy and I'm the hand of the king. Unfortunately, King Trevor can't be with us today because he's out in his community doing kingdomly stuff. So he has asked me to read a special book in light of celebrating National Aboriginal Day, and it's called Eagle Boy. I'd like to also give a shout out to our good friend teacher Barb for giving us the book to read today. It's illustrated by Lee Christensen and recorded and told by Richard Vaughn. So let's give it a start, and I gotta put my glasses on because I can't see either. Okay, let's have a seat. Eagle Boy. Along the rugged shoreline of the Pacific Northwest, a village stood on the cliffs overlooking the ocean. Eagles with snow-white heads and sleek dark bodies swooped over the village with razor-sharp talons as they snatched silver fish from the waters. The people of the village didn't like the eagles. "Eagles steal our fish," they cried. "Fly away, fly away." Yet one boy, an orphan, loved watching the eagles dip and soar above the ocean waves. Whenever the boy returned from fishing, he'd always give his share of salmon to the eagles. "Eat," he would yell, tossing fish into the air for the eagles to catch. "You should not feed the eagles," scolded the people. "But the eagles are my friends," he replied. The people called him Eagle Boy. Eagle Boy was a good fisherman. In summer months, when the fish were plentiful, he offered his largest and finest fish to the chief's eldest daughter, Sq'ewlets. "I do not need your fish," she said, mocking him. One year, as autumn faded into winter, the fish became scarce, and the whole village began to run short of food. "We must move our village," announced the chief. "We must find more food." The people packed all their owned and into their canoes, and Eagle Boy stood on the beach and watched as one by one the canoes pushed off. Eagle Boy was poor and didn't own his own boat. "We have no more room," said the chief, stepping into his last canoe. "Let your friends, the eagles, feed you," laughed Sq'ewlets. But just before they paddled away, the chief's youngest daughter, Sq'ewlets, slipped Eagle Boy a piece of dried fish so he would not get hungry. As the canoes disappeared over the waves, Eagle Boy stood alone on the windswept beach. He ate a small piece of fish and fell asleep into the sound of the waves crashing against the shore. That night he dreamed of eagles, eagles soaring in the sunshine, eagles swooping over large piles of fish. He even dreamed that he could fly too. As the morning sun stretched its golden fingers across the beach, Eagle Boy awoke to screaming sounds of the eagle as it dropped a fat fish beside his fire. "Thank you, my friend," he shouted as the eagle flew away. Hungrily, Eagle Boy roasted and ate the fish. The next morning, the two eagles dropped 2 fish by his fire. "Thank you," shouted Eagle Boy again. "I will live for another day." At the next sunrise, Eagle Boy watched as 3 eagles dropped silver fish on the sand. He ate his fill and spread the rest out to dry. When evening approached, Eagle Boy gathered all the wood he could find and built an enormous bonfire on the beach. Dancing around and around the flames, he sang songs in honor of the eagle. The next morning, the sky was full of eagles circling over a huge dark object close to shore. They were bringing him a whale. Eagle Boy slipped a long rope made of cedar bark around the whale and tied it to a rock. The whale could provide enough food for the entire village. The eagle landed beside the Eagle Boy. Eagle Boy tied strips of dried fish around the eagle's neck. "Take this to Sq'ewlets," he said. "I want to reply her in kindness." Gliding on the wind, the great eagle found the tribe huddled around the campfire on a distant beach. Hunting and fishing had not been good. The shadow of hunger showed on the people's faces. The eagle landed beside Sq'ewlets as she dug hopefully for clams on the beach. She realized at once who had sent the food. Taking the dried fish from the eagle, she gobbled a few bites and then raced to her father. "Look," she cried, "this is a gift from Eagle Boy." Sq'ewlets eyed the fish with greed. "The boy you left behind is rich with food," she said to the chief. "Well, we have nothing. Take us back, father. I will marry the boy, and we will eat his food." The chief shook his head with shame. "We were wrong to leave the boy." The people around the campfire agreed. "We thought only of ourselves," said one man. The boy will not accept us back," said another. "Even if he did," said the old woman, "we could never make the journey home without food." Perched on the branch high above them, the great eagle listened to the people. Spreading its giant's wings, it returned across the water. That night, Eagle Boy stood before the great eagle. The eagle's intense eyes were dark pools of wisdom. Deep in those eyes, the boys could see a distant beach where his people sat weak with hunger. Eagle Boy turned in towards the flames. "Let them go hungry," he said with anger, "just as they left me to do." In silence, the great eagle watched the boy. Staring into the fire, Eagle Boy remembered the canoes paddling away. He remembered Quishquishki laughing at him, but he also remembered Chukadubi slipping him food and the eagles bringing him fish, saving his life. At dawn, the boy again stood before the great eagle. "How can I help my people?" he asked. The eagle spread its wings and lifted into the air. As it rose, one shiny black feather fell and floated down towards Eagle Boy. They reached out and caught the feather. As he did, a wave of power flowed through him, and in that moment, the boy took off in the form of an eagle. On the distant beach, the tribe sat weak with hunger. Suddenly, the sky was filled with screeching eagles. Eagles swooped, eagles soared, eagles flew over the people, dropping hundreds of silvery fish. "It's a sign from Eagle Boy," cried Chukadubi, smiling. "Yes," agreed the chief. "He has forgiven us. Now we can go home." With the renewed strength, the people paddled and packed their canoes across and set across the water. Eagle Boy stood alone on the beach, watching the canoes approach. A single black eagle feather held from his hair. The chief was the first to come ashore, with Quishquishie beside him, dressed in her finest cedar bark clothing. "You have saved our people," said the chief. "I offer my eldest daughter, Quishquishie, in marriage." Eagle Boy shook his head. He says, "I cannot accept. My heart belongs to Chukadubi." The people honored Eagle Boy and Chukadubi with a wedding ceremony and a great feast. From that day forward, the people of the Pacific Northwest coast and the eagles have lived and hunted in harmony. In time, Eagle Boy grew to be a great chief, and the eagle became the symbol of his people. Wow, what a great, great story. And you know what, friends? We've got something special that we're going to take you to right now. We've come to see our good friend Pete the Carver. So come on with me and let's go have a look. Let's see if Pete's home. Hello? Hey! There's Pete. This is Pete the Carver. He lives in our community, and we're here to talk to him about his artwork. So let's go in and talk to him, ask him some questions. Come on in.
Come on in, guys.
Thank you so much for having us today, Pete. We really, really appreciate you and all the work you do. Can you tell us a little bit about your artwork here?
Well, first let me introduce myself. My name is Peter Gong. I'm a First Nations artist that lives here in Mission, BC, and I was actually born in Mission and raised up on a little reserve just in Maple Ridge on the Fraser River called the Wannock Reserve. And I've been doing art full time since 2011, and this is my home. And I turned this old garage into an art studio, so this is where I do my art every day. And I know your theme today is on eagles, and so I got a couple pieces here. This is a bambwood box that I've done, and it's got eagles and salmon. So in my mind, I grew up on the Fraser River, and eagles and salmon kind of, for me, always go together. So that's a bambwood box that I've actually painted eagles and salmon on.
And that's what our story was about, was all about eagles and salmon and how the salmon fed the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also have like a bentwood canoe box. These were also bent from one piece of wood and used as toolboxes in everyday life, when in the dugout canoes, when the people were out traveling or just working every day, they would have put their tools in it, whatever. So you can see the compound angles on that. And on this side, again, I got salmon
Wow.
and eagles, and then I got, for box end designs, I also have eagles. And the lid on the canoe boxes, because of the shape, could have been used for bailers in the canoe. And you
Oh.
always need something to bail with in any kind of boat.
Can you tell our friends what the shiny pieces are here? Like
Yeah,
what
the
is, what
inlay.
is that?
The inlays are abalone inlays, and here on the west coast, our ancestors always used our local abalone. But when the fur traders came to the coast and started trading, they started trading for New Zealand abalone, which is called polish shell.
Right.
And they found that our natives, people on the west coast, like the extra color that abalone had, so they were quite willing to trade furs for it. So it's quite common to see that the inlays with polished shell in them and stuff like that. They have more blues and greens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that interesting? That's kind of cool to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you know, we're going to come back another time and we're going to visit Peter Gong and look at his shop and look at other things that he's doing. We want to thank you very much for your time today. And we're going to say bye. We're going to go back to the kingdom and everybody have a great day. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.